Good morning, everyone. My name is Lucio, and I'll be teaching you about making rigid bodies and labeling them, as well as smoothing them to get them ready to export to MotionBuilder. So, what we have here is a scene of our asset flying through, it looks like empty space, populated by 4 props. Now, this could be anything that you want it to be. So, this could be, like, let's say, a spaceship flying through an asteroid field, a bee flying around through a field of flowers, or let's say a jet skier going through a rocky beach. So I'm going to stop that. Now the purpose of labeling is to set the association of all these markers with each other as one object. Because right now we just have ourselves one marker, another marker, and another marker, and these are all individual. These are all individual data pieces. So we need to have them have an association with each other to be one. So we have spaced these out to create the association that this is one prop, this is one prop, this is one prop, and this is one prop, and this is our main prop, our main asset. So we're going to do a marquee select, and we have these 3 selected, and we're going to do a right click to create our rigid body. So right click, and we can do create rigid body or Control T, create. And as you can see, we have ourselves a triangle in this space. Turn this off and on. So yes, we have created one rigid body association, and we're going to give it a name. We're going to start with the example of a spaceship. There we go. Now we're going to do the same thing for everything else. So same thing, right click after marquee selecting, and we want to do a create rigid body to create another association. Another create rigid body. So if you remember, we are doing a marquee select as well as a right click and create rigid body, or you can do a Control T. So marquee select and Control T to create our rigid body, and another one, Control T, rigid body. So now we have 4 additional rigid bodies. We're going to name each and every one. Gonna copy and paste the name. Asteroids 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, let's say you're moving around your scene a bit much and you don't remember what is labeled as what. So you can always click back and forth between the asset menu to choose your asteroids or spaceship. Or what we can do is turn on the viewport label. So we're going to select one of our assets right here, not by the viewport, but by the asset menu. We're going to select the spaceship, and we're going to go to properties. If properties is not here, you can always go to view and click on properties, and this will open up. So there we go. We're going to dock it into the middle section, and we're going to click on the parameters for label. Now we have spaceship in the viewport. For that, we're going to do the same for the 4 other props. We can do one at a time, or we can do all 4. So make sure you are selecting right over here in the asset menu. Shift select asteroid 1 through asteroid 4 and turn on label. Asteroid 1, 2, 3, and 4. Notice the different colors. You can always go back into the properties by selecting the asset menu and changing the colors, the visuals, the bones orientation, everything you want, you can change. But for our tutorial, we're going to just keep it as is. Alright, so back to labeling. Right here we have ourselves all spaceship, asteroid 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to still associate all of these markers with their own individual objects. We're going to select auto label. Now if we check, every single one of these has been associated with their asset that we had created a rigid body for. So we got spaceship, asteroid 1, 2, 3, and 4. They all have 3 markers each. What we're going to do now is a little bit of smoothing. So the purpose of smoothing is to fix jagged motions. So the asteroids are not going to be a good example of that because they don't move. There's no data missing and there's no jagged motion. We're going to select the spaceship. This right here is going to be a good example. You can see that the motion that we have here on this line is not exactly smooth, but we're going to turn on the trail cam. And you can see the motion does not look smooth at all. It's wobbly, jagged, and disappears sometimes. So we got to fill in the gaps and smooth the motion. One way how to do this is go over to the properties menu, smoothing and dampening on the bottom, and we have a parameter for smoothing. Smoothing is set to 0 by default, and it pretty much finds the average of all 3 of your marker sets in your rigid body and gives you the middle ground for that. So 0, no averaging out, but if we set it to 100, you will see the rigid body is slowly tracking the marker set. The rigid body is moving pretty smooth in the space, but the con is your motion capture data is going to suffer in quality because it's not capturing your motion, it's just averaging out everything else, and you might as well hand key everything. So use it sparingly because you will destroy your data. So we're going to find the middle ground. Let's say 50 and 60 are the sweet sweet ranges. We're going to select spaceship. We're going to hit play. We're going to reset. So smoothing is set to 50. Play. And we can see our object is tracking pretty well to the marker set. It's moving smoother than it once was, but not too smooth to where we are destroying our data. So that's all set and good, fine and dandy. Now we're going to fill in our gaps. So we're going to go to Edit Tools. We're going to use primarily gaps on this one. So we have 4 different interpolation types that we can use, but for this purpose we're going to be using only cubic and pattern based. So we'll go to label and find that 1% and 2% of our marker 2 and 3 ranges are missing. So we're going to go to marker 2 and we're going to look at the bottom line over here. We see one little red dash and that's about it. So we're going to select this, edit range. We're going to stick to 2000 and cubic. So cubic is the same thing as smooth. It averages out the motion and it pretty much connects the 2 ranges. So if I go here, zoom in, we can see that we have data missing. This pretty much connects it in the middle ground. So it will find the average and connect it. So we're going to hit fill. There we go. It's all good. Go back to label. Now we have no percentage of any gaps. I'll go to marker 3. Marker 3 still has that gap too. So we're going to do a cubic and maximum gap size fill range. So that's filled out too. You can see when we do that, the spaceship, it fixes its own space in relation to our markers that we're missing. I'm going to zoom in closer on this last bit. So this is also a pretty big chunk of our marker 3 that is missing. We're going to do a cubic fill and fill range. Now you can see that our data is looking pretty straight, but if we zoom in on our data, you can see that the association for this marker breaks off at the very end. It doesn't follow the same motion as the two other markers, and it tapers off. So this right here can cause a little bit of confusion to your smooth object. So we're going to undo the cubic fill, and we're going to do a pattern based. A pattern base takes the association of multiple other markers and it finds the averaging out between those in relation to your object. So we're going to select marker 1, marker 2, and marker 3. Pattern base, and we're going to fill our spaceship underscore marker 3. Fill range. So now we can see it all tracks pretty good, and it does not break. If it moves with the object. So this is just the basic tutorial for how to fill in the gaps and smooth out your data. There is more cleanup that we can do and more smoothing that we can do to make this as seamless as possible and make it look very good for MotionBuilder. But that'll be in a different tutorial, so I will show you guys next time.